Hey, what's up, Bolt Gang? The Los Angeles Chargers just made one of the smartest signings of the offseason in signing tight end David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns. Now, David Njoku is a player that I've personally been excited about ever since he entered the league 9 years ago. He was selected in the first round of the 2017 NFL Draft. He was selected 29th overall and has been a Brown his entire career. Now, there are a lot of skeptics out there that think that David Njoku is past his prime and that this wasn't a smart signing. However, I think that that's false. I believe that the fact that he played for the Cleveland Browns, a team that's notorious for not being a very good team or organization to play for, and the fact that he had such inconsistency at the quarterback position and head coaching position, I believe that Njoku's prime is still ahead of him. I think that the fact that he now gets to play under the likes of Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel, and Justin Herbert, I think that there is still a lot of great football to be played, and I think that we haven't seen the best out of him as of yet. And then the Chargers actually put out an article why the Chargers added David Njoku in free agency, so I want to kind of dive deeper into what they think he brings to the table and how he will help us moving forward throughout the 2026 NFL season. Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz both believe that roster building is a year-round process. They're constantly looking for competitors, people who will fight for positions on the team and will help the Chargers overall in winning games and progressing throughout the season. With the signing of David Njoku, this move now adds a veteran playmaker to what is now a well-rounded tight end room. I believe that we now have one of the best, if not the best, tight end room in the entire NFL. Njoku is 29 years old at the moment. He will be 30 before the season starts, but I don't think the age is a factor as of yet in his career. I believe that, again, the fact that he played for the Browns limited him in his ability to show what he's truly made of. And now with Justin Herbert targeting him, with Mike McDaniel calling the shots, the sky's the limit. And though he did play for the Cleveland Browns, he still is a Pro Bowl level tight end and is among the league's most consistent tight ends in his career, especially over the past few seasons. Now, I believe that the productivity of Njoku last season was a farce, being that he had 3 different quarterbacks throwing to him, one of which was an older quarterback who still has some gas left in the tank, but wasn't what he used to be in that of prime Joe Flacco, and then 2 rookies who have not proven themselves yet at the NFL level in Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. But now that he does have Justin Herbert throwing to him, with that consistency at the quarterback position, I believe that he is going to progress and develop into a better tight end overall. Over the past 4 seasons, Njoku is tied for 5th among tight ends with 19 touchdown catches, 1,478 yards after the catch, and is 7th with 248 total catches. So over the past 4 seasons, again, there have been plenty of quarterbacks who have come and gone for the Cleveland Browns. And the fact that he is able to produce these numbers without that consistency at the quarterback position, it just proves that he is tenacious and that he is a competitor, and he is going to go out there and produce at a level that, again, we have not seen out of him, being that he has had such inconsistency at that quarterback position. In all, Njoku has 384 receptions for 4,062 yards and 34 touchdown catches in 118 games, with 88 of those being starts. But as they say in the article, he has likely never played with a quarterback as talented as Justin Herbert. Njoku is now going to be playing with Oronde Gadsden and Charlie Kolar, who we picked up from the Baltimore Ravens earlier this season. And I think that Njoku is the best of both worlds when compared to those other players. I think that Oronde Gadsden is looked at as more of a receiving threat. Charlie Kolar is looked at as more of a pass blocking threat. And now with Njoku, he is able to do both, being that he is that veteran presence on the field. And now we get to see how McDaniel will utilize their 3 separate skill sets, and sometimes even with the 13 personnel, seeing them on the field at the same time, creating options for Amarian Hampton to find holes, get downfield, and hell, even see Justin Herbert scramble on his feet. Njoku is regarded as a very effective red zone threat, and I think that's something that Justin Herbert has been missing over the past few years. Now, specifically with Njoku, 26 of his 34 career touchdown catches have come from within the 20-yard line. So the fact that he is such a red zone threat just creates more options for Herbert when we get down to where it matters most on the field, and his ability to put numbers on the board. But I am excited to see how he fits into this offensive scheme under Mike McDaniel and what the future holds for him as a LA Charger. And then the Chargers actually came out with another article, 5 things to know about new Chargers tight end David Njoku. Again, he is a veteran presence. The fact that we have someone with the experience that David Njoku has to help develop Oronde Gadsden and create a monster of a tight end moving forward, because I believe he is the future at our tight end position, especially if he's able to produce similarly to how he did last season and take that next step as a sophomore in the NFL. I think that that veteran presence, just like with Khalil Mack and Akeem Mesidor, I think that those relationships are going to help us moving forward as an organization. Again, he is a Pro Bowler, so the fact that he was able to create a Pro Bowl career, even though he was playing for the Cleveland Browns, that's stellar. It just speaks to the fact that he is tenacious, he's a competitor, and competitors are welcome. We've already discussed his productive career. His numbers speak for themselves, so I'm excited to see how he boosts those numbers when playing for the Chargers, if we are going to bring him back next year, but let's take it 1 year at a time. And then a cool fact about David Njoku is that he did play for the University of Miami. He was a Hurricane, so that is something that him and Akeem Mesidor have in common. He was productive as a tight end for the team, finishing with 64 receptions for 1,060 yards and 9 touchdowns, including a massive 8-score year in his final collegiate season. So his last season is probably why he was a first-round pick, and I think that his productivity now that he is playing for the Chargers, we're going to see similar numbers when it comes to him as a player when surrounded by a team that is effective, a team that is dangerous, and a team that is not afraid to throw the ball downfield. And then we already discussed Oronde Gadsden, Charlie Kolar, and now David Njoku. Our tight end room is lethal, and I think that it will be talked about throughout the season. I hope that we are able to see all three of these players shine. Charlie Kolar is going to be a blocking menace, and I'm excited to see how Mike McDaniel utilizes all three of their skill sets moving forward. And after I learned of the signing of David Njoku, I went ahead and looked at some of his highlights, and there were a couple that stood out to me that I'd like to point out just to kind of showcase what kind of player David Njoku is and the kind of skill set that he's bringing to our team. So first and foremost, I want you to see this one. It is against the New York Jets. Mayfield steps back, steps into the pocket, finds Njoku open because he burnt the receiver, but just watch when they slow this down. Watch this catch. Big man. One-handed grab, full control all the way to the ground. It doesn't get much better than that. It showcases why he is such a dangerous receiver, and the fact that he is able to make defenders miss, the fact that he's able to run effective routes and get open, but that red zone presence is everything. So the fact that Justin Herbert now has a lethal red zone target, it's going to change everything. And I think that it makes us that much better as a team. And then secondly, against the Baltimore Ravens, just watch this one. So Mayfield steps back, launches the ball downfield, and boom. Njoku comes down with it all day. Now, the reason I wanted to show you that one is because it showcases his ability to make contested grabs, and the fact that that defender was all over him and he still went up. Big body, big frame. Now, he's 6'4", 265, got off the ground. He's got those bunnies, and he came down with that ball. Deep threats is something that Justin Herbert didn't have a lot of throughout his career with the Chargers. He had Mike Williams at one point, but after Williams left, there wasn't really that next man up. QJ has started to develop into that next man up, but I think that now that he has multiple deep threats in that of Njoku, in that of QJ, and now in that of Brennan Thompson, who we selected in the 4th round, I think that there's a lot of room for growth, not only for David Njoku, but now for Justin Herbert. And Herbert is going to have a lot more options this season, especially if his O-line is able to hold up as well as it should, being that we drafted a lot of offensive linemen in the draft. And then finally, this one against the Bills. This is crazy. Steps up, Njoku's wide open, and then leaps the defender. So the reason I wanted to show you this one is his athleticism. He is 6'4", 265 pounds, and just hurdled this professional football player like he was nothing. So I'm excited to see how his ability to utilize his athleticism, utilize his hands, utilize his pass blocking efficiency, just the fact that he is so dangerous at the tight end position, it just unlocks so much more potential for Mike McDaniel. And I just foresee, there's this weird feeling in my gut that I have about this season that I haven't had in past seasons. Sure, I've thought that we were going to go further in the playoffs the past couple seasons. I thought that we could have won it all a couple times, but this season just feels different. It feels like we have most of our positions figured out. I think that we could still add a corner, we could still add an offensive guard, but besides that, we have depth at every position, and I don't know without injury how we are going to be stopped. And I'm excited to start this season more so than any other season. I want to see that if my beliefs are correct, if that this team is just different. It's different. It feels almost like the 2008, 2009 Chargers. And I'm itching for the season to start. But if you like this video, go ahead and drop me a like. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you all to discuss what you think of David Njoku so far in his career, what you thought he brought to the table as a Cleveland Brown, what you think he'll bring to the table as an LA Charger. If you are aware of his collegiate career, let me know what you thought about him in college. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content. I have a couple videos in the works that I'm excited about, mainly finishing up the NFL draft, the selections that we made in the final rounds, the undrafted free agents that we signed, and then the schedule release, which happened a couple hours ago from the time that I'm actually recording this. But I do want to leave you with one question. Who's got it better than us? Thanks for stopping in, and I'll catch you on the next one.